Welcome to Songs I Teach. This is Aki, and today you'll be learning your first two chords. Now, these two chords will eventually end up into a song by the end of the lesson. Now, I assume that you already took the time to watch the tuning video and that you are perfectly in tune. Now, let's talk about the string numbers. The thin one is called first string. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. It's easy to get it mixed up and backwards. Some people think that this guy's the first one, but just remember the thin one is the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, recalling back to the tuning video, we know that each of these strings have an alphabetical name to it as well. E, A, D, G, B, E, or every acid dealer gets busted eventually. So you'll have to keep both of it in your mind. First string is also called E. Now, in addition to having string numbers, we also have these things called frets. Now, frets are these metal rods that go across the guitar neck. But when I'm talking about press the first fret, I'm talking about pressing the space immediately behind the first fret. So this would be an example of pushing the first fret, second fret, third fret, and so forth. If you're right-handed like I am, and most guitar players, you'll be holding onto the guitar like this. You'll use your right hand to pick, and your left hand will fret the strings. We'll be touching the strings like this. Now, this is the first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger. We use these 4 fingers. Now, the thumb just hangs out in the back, so we don't count. Let's start with a D chord. Now, D chord is written as a capital D on sheet music. The long form name for it is called D major. For that, we'll take our first finger, put it on the second fret of the third string. While you do that, put your second finger on the second fret of the first string. Third finger on the third fret of the second string. Okay, now, while we have all 3 of these guys pressed down, let's take the pick and strum downwards from the 4th string. So this is a 4-string chord. All right, let's play it on the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Very good. Now, if you notice your fingers, you'll have a little line like this. Now, I've been playing for years and years and years, but I still get these lines. Now, don't worry about this. By the end of the lesson, you might feel a little sore at the end, but fear not. After practicing for a week or 2 diligently, half an hour to an hour a day, you'll find that you'll develop a little callus, and it'll allow you to play pain or discomfort free for a long period of time. So let's go back to our D chord again. First finger on the third string, second fret. Second finger on the first string, second fret. Third finger on the second string, third fret. On a count of 4, we'll hit 4 strings. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. All right, and there's your first chord. Very good. Let's move on to our second chord. Second chord for the day is called G, and G will be done like this. Second finger to the 6th string, third fret. Third finger to the first string, third fret. Last but not least, first finger to the 5th string, second fret. Now this guy is all 6 strings, so you don't have to be quite so discerning with your right hand as we were with the D when we had to play 4 strings. So we get to just rock and roll and play all 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Excellent. Now please let go. And just like before, we're gonna practice constructing again. Maybe shake it out a little bit, get a little blood back in there. Let's go back to our G major chord. Second finger to the 6th string, third fret. Third finger to the 1st string, third fret. First finger to the 5th string, second fret. All 6 strings on a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Great job. So there's your 2 chords. Now feel free to stop it at any point and practice getting to that chord, each one of those guys. Now let's take a look at how it looks like on the page. Here is a diagram of a G chord. These chord diagrams are fairly universal. If you look online, how do you play a G chord? You might see a diagram like this. This is just a little drawing of a guitar. So vertically, the first string is on the right-hand side, vertically, and then the 6th string's on the left-hand side. Okay? The horizontal lines are the frets. So notice the number 2 is right on top of the 6th string, 3rd fret. And you'll see that it's the G chord that we just learned. Now notice on top of the 4th string, 3rd string, and the 2nd string, there's a circle. Now the circle simply means our finger's not on top of those strings, but we're going to strum it anyway. So those are called open strings. Now these diagrams are for reference only. So ideally you should really learn these chords inside out so that you don't need to look at the diagram every time you play. There's your 2 chords. As a total beginner, this is a heck of a feat. So congratulations, you should tap yourself on the back for that. So the second half of the first lesson is going to be how to apply these 2 chords and how to swiftly switch between them. Because in Western popular music, it's all about the beat and how efficiently and when to play these chords. So in order for you to do that, you obviously have to be good at individually playing the D and the G by itself. But let's practice being able to switch in between those. So we'll do that by playing a D chord and then waiting 10 beats, 10 counts if you will. And you'll give yourself 10 counts in order to switch to the next chord. So you're kind of putting a little fire behind you and a little motivation to get to the next chord in time. Here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great, now you can repeat this exercise as many times as you want in order to feel comfortable with the switch. The goal, however, is to eventually whittle down that amount of time that's in between these. The goal number is 4. And you'll see this 4 because this 4-beat thing is a very, very important groupings. You probably noticed that I've said, I counted off 1, 2, 3, 4 before we begin playing. And it's because it's kind of like a magic number in the Western popular music. This is what's called a whole note duration. So if I play a D chord and let it go for 4 beats, it means I'm playing in the whole note duration. On the sheet music right here, it's expressed as this little diamond. Another way this is written is a circle. So it's either going to be a diamond in a chart or it's going to be a circle. So let's take a look at this. So we got 1 whole note on D, and then the second measure we got another whole note on G. So it's simply 4 beats on D and 4 beats on G. It sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Okay? Now this is our very first song for this lesson. This is Bob Marley's Lively Up Yourself. Now before we play along with Bob, let's talk down the sheet music and make sure everything is cool. So these little boxes that hold on to these chords, these are called measures or bars. Each measure or a bar houses 4 beats. There you go, that magic number again. 4 foot taps, 4 beats. You know, I call them 4 foot taps because if you're playing along, it's just each beat is a foot tap. Now, within each measure, notice there's the whole notes that we talked about, the diamond-shaped or the circle-shaped. And that tells us to play the D chord or the G chord and let it go for 4 beats. Very good. Now take a look at this bracket. This bracket is a downstroke. So what that means for us is right now is when we take our pick, we just strum downwards. Okay? And last but not least, in the very first measure, there's a colon dot. Whenever we see that, just remember that we're going to be coming back to this point. Whenever I see reading music and I see the colon dots, there's like a little red flag that raises in the back of my head. I just have to remember that I'm coming back to this point at some time. So we play the first measure and the second measure. Notice after the G, at the very end, we see the other end of the colon dot. So there it is. After we play 2 measures, we jump right back to the very beginning and play it all over again. In normal instances, whenever we see a repeat symbol, we repeat twice, and that's it. But in our case, I wrote down many times right on top of it. It just simply means we're going to repeat these 2-measure pattern over and over for the entire duration of the song. So let's play along with Bob Marley's Lively Up Yourself.
Oh yeah. You're gonna liven up yourself and don't be no stress. You're livening up yourself, already is an orphan. You're livening up yourself and don't say no. You're gonna liven up yourself.
So there it is. You have your first song from playing 2 chords.